freaking first cut. Golly. Welcome to the First Cut Podcast. I'm Rick Gehman, and this is your recap episode for this week's John Deere Classic. Joining me to break it all down, Patrick McDonald. I believe that is Patrick is here.
Or Clark Kent. You know, we get commonly confused with each other, dashing young men reporters. We're all the same, though.
A Patrick donning glasses this evening, and a Greg DuCharme donning a beard. I don't know who anyone is.
This is the last day of the beard. Fun. This is fun, Greg. Summertime, Greg, and it all ends tomorrow morning. So I'm looking forward to that. Patrick, I dig the glasses. I like the Clark Kent reference. And now you could say, hey, not all heroes wear capes, but I do.
Exactly. Greg, are you can you grow a full-on beard? Are you patchy at all in places, or what's your facial hair situation?
It's not that patchy. It just I don't give it a whole lot of time. It's not overly thick. But it's not patchy. So okay. I got that going for me, which is nice.
There you go. If you needed a Greg DuCharme beard update, you have just received it. Gentlemen. The John Deere Classic certainly provided some excitement until it didn't. I didn't know really where to start, but I guess we'll just start with the guy who went out in 28. His name, Sepp Straka, friend of the pod. Not really. Friend of the pod, Sepp Straka, goes out in 28. And let's just go back in time, Patrick. Let's wipe the result from your memory. Let's wipe the back nine of his round from your memory. What were you thinking when Sepp Straka went out in 28?
There's no way this guy's going to win this golf tournament, probably. Because that front nine, it's not like he hit a ton of great shots from tee to green. He had a couple good wedges there. I think on 4 was a nice wedge shot, as well as 6. And then he made a few bombs from 30 feet on 7, 40 feet on 9. And it was like, hold up, this guy just shot, 28? And then he has like somewhat of a conservative club selection there on the 10th, the par 5, doesn't hit driver and doesn't take advantage of it. And there was just so much golf still to be played. And you saw someone like a Seamus Power, Ludvig, both those got off to great starts. You know, all 3 of these guys are going to be Ryder Cup teammates here on that European side coming soon. And I don't know, Sepp kind of just does this from time to time where he just rides an all-time heater. He said on Thursday his putting coach texted him after the round and said his toe was too high. And so he's last 54 holes, all he was thinking about was keeping his hands high so the toe would kind of hug the ground more. And I mean, he putted his butt off today. But yeah, turning in 28, I still thought, one, he could break 60 and still somehow not win, just given how scoreable TPC Deere run was this week.
I hate it when pros get one stupid little tip and then they go out and shoot the round of their life I hate that because I know that's never going to happen to me. Greg, I was doing the math here. I kind of had a similar thought to Patrick. Okay, out in 28. Okay, if he can get to this number, that might be good. But I'm still thinking in the back of my mind, well, if he goes out in 28, all these guys who still have holes to play, because he went out an hour before the final group, they're going to be able to take advantage of a lot of these holes too. It was no foregone conclusion that this was going to be Sepp's day when he made the turn.
No, it was not a foregone conclusion. But it seemed kind of like he put a lot of pressure on those guys that started an hour behind. Because for the most part, they didn't really get off to, or at least sustain, really strong starts. And so I think the score that Sepp Straka was putting up there really had an effect on some of these leaders, which was interesting because I'm watching as well thinking, okay, well, there's 5, 6 guys behind him who have way more golf left to play, and somebody's going to get hot and make a run here. And like we talked about last night, Rick, I mean, he got right up to that number that we expected to win. 20 under would have won. If he only got to 20, it would have won, by the way, which we talked about last night. But I mean, he had 23, and that run on the back nine of 4 birdies in a row is really when it started. Okay, this he won. I mean, when he makes birdie at the last birdie there, what at 15, 14 rather, thinking, okay, that's it. He's got a par 5 to go, and now he can pretty much cruise. And I don't think anybody is going to catch him. I mean, you're talking about somebody having to make 6 or 7 birdies in their last 9 holes, and that's a lot. So it looked like it was going to end at that point. I couldn't believe it sustained after the 28, because I was right there with you. This is going to be a great day, a great round. He'll put a great number up there. But in reality, I mean, he really should have shot 59. He should have shot 59 today.
This was like the worst 62 I've ever seen.
It's so odd.
I mean,
so disappointing.
It was. He turns in 28, does not birdie either par 5 on the back. Okay, pars both of them. The putt he had on 15 for birdie, I don't know how it stayed out. It was perfect. I mean, like a millimeter, and it goes in. There's a chance he steps on 18T, needing to make par for like, what would that be? 14, like 57. I mean, if everything goes right, he could have shot a 58 or 57. It's actually not that crazy.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't take advantage of even 17. I know now 59 is really in your mind.
Yeah, and
he was kind of ranking the win ahead of the 59, which is a fascinating question to me.
I don't believe that, by the way.
Would you rather win the John Deere Classic or shoot 59?
Well, if you shoot 59, you do both.
If you shoot 59, you do both.
I'd rather shoot 59 with a closing double than win the John Deere Classic. I think that would have been like full going up in flames. I still broke 60, but I finished with a double and lost.
I think Patrick, if he would have won, or I'm sorry, he did win. Spoiler alert, he did win. If he shot a 59, I think that answer to that question would have been, yeah, I was thinking about 59. I think that was a little bit of self-protection, a little bit of mental defense coming in there, making a double on 18.
Well, look, I mean, you winning on the PGA Tour is it's the goal every week, obviously, but so few players have shot 59. That is the thing you're remembered for. And winning once or twice on the PGA Tour, that difference there's a difference, but I don't think you're going down in history for winning twice on the PGA Tour. Shooting 59, you're going down in history you're remembered forever. So I think that really came into his mind there, and he had a pretty good bunker shot on 17. But ultimately, if he keeps it left of that bunker on 17, he probably shoots 59. Needing par on 18, there's no way he's playing the shot he played in there. I know he said he pulled it a little bit, but he's playing a different shot into that green if he only needs 4.
All right, here's the history question for you. The last 2 players on the PGA Tour to shoot 59, who were they?
I know the answer to this. So I'll wait a second.
Yeah, give me a second. Is one of them Adam Hadwin?
No.
Oh, so there are 2 after that.
I think
Greg, here's one hint.
4 after that. That is a low-key great hint. If you know the answer, it's a perfect hint.
I should know the answer.
For those of you who are just listening and not watching on YouTube, Patrick adjusted his spectacles.
Oh, well, Scotty Scheffler.
There we go.
Is that why the eye test?
The eye test, 2020 Northern Trust.
Yep, at TPC Boston.
The other one's pretty hard.
Is it at the Greenbrier? So Kevin Chappell.
Yeah, right, Patrick?
I was going to say, did Snedeker shoot 59 at Wyndham?
I think it was after. Yes, he did, but I think Chappell did it more recently.
Okay, so I was wrong, and I even looked it up.
And then I think JT's was after Hadwin's as well.
Oh, wow. So right? Hadwin's was it feels like just yesterday.
No, that can't be right, because that would have been probably the same year, and JT's at Sony, and and Hadwin's was at the American Express. So it had to
Was
be
it like back-to-back weeks?
yeah, right, or a week in between, I think.
Yeah, so
insane.
Scheffler, Chappell, Snedeker, Hadwin was Desert Fox, La Quinta, and 17.
I thought for sure we were going to get it because yesterday was the, I think, 14-year anniversary of Paul Goydos doing it at the John Deere. And yesterday I saw Paul Goydos at the driving range. And I was like, this is happening. Like I just saw the guy 14 years to the day after shooting 59 at the John Deere, and Sepp Straka is going to come out and shoot 59 at the John Deere.
It had to happen. I don't know how it didn't happen.
I don't know how it didn't happen.
Maybe seeing Paul Goydos was the curse.
Looks pretty good, actually. I mean, I think he's playing on the Champions Tour. I think he played in the U.S. Senior Open, like, what was that, 2 weeks ago, last week?
How many people on that driving range recognized Paul Goydos?
0.
Well, 1, including you.
I did. Well, I also saw his name on his bag. So
okay.
I don't think I could have picked him out of a crowd, but I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Did he still have the last button done? The top button?
You know what? I didn't notice. I just noticed
he always did that.
He was wearing a visor, and that had most of my attention.
He was a top button undone, or like Bubba?
No, he always had top button done. I was wondering if he just went to the range to hit some balls, if that's just how he wears his shirts.
I'll keep an eye out.
Yeah, I think he had that Sergio Players Championship. I think it was mock season for Goydos, right?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, the 08 Players, he lost in a playoff to Sergio Garcia, which is sick.
Yeah, we're in a mock.
The thing that blows me away about Paul Goydos, it just sticks out in my head. He shot 59 here and led by 1.
Yeah, he didn't win.
And he didn't win. Stricker shot 60 the same day. It's unbelievable.
Wild stuff. So Sepp Straka makes a double on 18 from the middle of the fairway, yanking his approach shot into the water. He settles for a 62, and all of a sudden, boys, this thing's kind of wide open again, right, Patrick? I mean, he was so far ahead of everybody else. When he makes a double on 18, you're looking at the leaderboard going, oh man, it's very possible to catch him now. What was absolutely his tournament was all of a sudden a math problem.
Yeah, I think his lead ballooned to as many as 5, and right when he made that mistake, Todd tacked one on 11, and it's like, oh gosh, this is only two strokes with a lot of birdie chances upcoming. That swing almost reminded me of, Sepp's one swing away from being a 3-time PGA Tour winner in the last 2 years.
Wait, let me think about this. So he won.
Oh yeah,
he won this. So where was he one swing away from winning?
It was in Memphis last year in a playoff with Will Zalatoris.
Yeah.
After he hit it under the crevice into the penalty area.
But Zalatoris did that after Sepp hit it in the water.
Oh.
No.
Other way around?
Sepp just needed to find the green.
Oh, yeah. That was where Zalatoris stood there for like 8 minutes trying to decide if he was going to hit it off the rock or not.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so good. That was my favorite moment of the whole year.
He easily could be a 3-time winner in the last, 18-ish months?
He misses like 75% of his cuts.
It's incredible. It's kind of given like Cam Champ vibes.
It's not
like when he's in it, he kind of wins.
Yeah. It's a better Jim Herman, better Cam Champ. He misses so many cuts, but when it clicks, it's so good.
For his career, he's this was his 137th event. So he's made 77 of 137 cuts. So a little more than half. And I think he's got now 10 top 5 finishes, which is pretty good, but he misses a lot of cuts. He is really hard to figure out.
And I forgot he lost in a playoff to Mackenzie Hughes already this season too. In
the
Mississippi.
First event of the year, right?
Yeah.
Or his first start of the year.
He's like 2.5 swings away from 4-time winner on the PGA Tour.
It's wild.
It is his second win. it is also going to be a very strong case for his Ryder Cup candidacy, and a very big day for Luke Donald, Patrick, who gets a win from Sepp Straka. He gets a win from Rasmus Hojgaard, and Ludvig Aberg has another very nice week. The bottom of that European Ryder Cup team is rounding into form.
I think you got to I think Ludvig's a lock at this point. His off the tee numbers are a joke. And like I've said, you put him in alternate shot with like a seasoned veteran who's a good iron player, like a Tommy Fleetwood. That pairing would be amazing together. And I didn't watch too much of the European. I didn't see the playoff. I heard it was kind of both these guys want to lose this tournament type of deal.
They played 18 6 times. Rasmus made par 6 times, and the other guy finally made a double the 6th time he played it.
Okay, so is Rasmus the 12th guy? Assuming we got Meronk, Ludvig, and Straka.
Well, here's the thing. I don't know if we should assume, Greg, I don't know how up to date these are. Are these updating in real time? Because now Rasmus is 5th in European points, right behind Meronk. So he might just earn his way on.
If you're you got to be top 3 now this year. Top 3 European points.
Rory, Yannick Paul, and Yannick, Meronk, and Hojgaard are all pretty close to one another.
Yeah, that's it. It's very interesting. Because then in the world, see, this is the thing, is it favors the world after you get those top 3. So when you have Rory and Rahm sitting up there on top in the European standings, they just get canceled out. They aren't included in the world standings. So those guys that are really close in the European ones don't get quite as much of a bump, in the official points list. It's a little harder to figure out than the American side, but they all have a very good shot. But here's the thing to me with Ludvig. He has played so few events. I mean, you got to I feel like this has to get validated a little bit more. I don't know. It's been very good. This was a big week for him. And shooting 63 today was huge. But I think there's got to be, this has to continue until the last possible moment for me. I wouldn't call him a lock, I guess is all I'm saying.
I think there's 3 things it boils down to, Patrick, for me, if I'm Luke Donald. Number one, the bottom of your team is bad, right? So I think you could get away with putting a lot of different guys on there. The bottom of your team's pretty bad. Number 2, you've, for the last however many years, have had a very old team, and you now get an opportunity to pass the torch a little bit to a guy who's going to be on the squad seemingly for a long time. And 3, this is not a 72-hole stroke play event, and his single round upside is massive. And in a Ryder Cup format, if you get hot for 10 holes, 11 holes, you steal a point. And I would rather have that than, I don't even know who, I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, but is Aaron Rai going to go out and steal a match? Probably not. But Aaron Rai might beat Ludvig a lot in 72-hole stroke play events.
I will always side with injecting a team with youth. And like you said, Rick, the difference between some of these guys, whether it's the 11th guy, the 12th guy, there isn't really much of a difference. How much are they really going to contribute there? Maybe Luke's going to try to hide some guys, play some guys sparingly. That's typically how it works. Just to give a 23-year-old experience in the locker room, having him learn from someone like Rory or Rahm or whoever's third on that list, Yanni P., which is unbelievable. Is that meme where it's like the 2 girls in the bikini and then the one little girl in the one piece with the weird hat on? That's kind of Yannick Paul in this case. I'll show it to you guys after. You'll know what I'm talking about.
I have no clue what you're talking about.
But the chance to give Ludvig his first Ryder Cup cap, do they call them caps like soccer? They do now. I think is invaluable for the future of the European Ryder Cup team.
I'm with you, brother. You are preaching to the choir, and Sepp Straka has just solidified his case for that team as well. Sepp Straka wins his second career PGA Tour event, which is always fun. Congratulations to you, Sepp. We will continue with the rest of this board, update our bets, update our one and done. But first, we're going to take a quick break and hear a word from our partners.
Get breaking news.
Big news coming out of the NFL today.
Highlights and instant reactions.
The largest final round comeback in Tour championship history. We're down to the final four.
I just want to take time to analyze greatness.
Talk winners and losers with a guy who's already a big winner.
CBS Sports HQ. It's all sports all day long.
And we're back. All right, let's reset this board a little bit. Obviously, Sepp Straka at the top, 21 under par. A couple of golfers in at 19 under. That is Brendon, Todd, and Alex Smalley. Let's start with Todd here. Greg, he got off to a decent start, made 2 birdies through 4 holes, but that was during the time when Sepp was going nuts. And you do wonder how much you look up at the leaderboard, you see that this guy is running away from you, and how much it changes kind of the way you start tackling this golf course.
Yeah, and you look at it now, and it shouldn't have had any effect, right? You're playing fine, you're hanging in there. You'd like to get a little more than just 2 on the front 9. It's nice to get 2 through 4. That's really good, but shooting 33 there, you're kind of losing to the leaders. Maybe not to the field, but you feel like you're losing to the leaders. Then he doesn't get number 10, and but when he makes birdie at 14, everything has changed. And it seemed like everything changed for him too, because he had on 15 a very makeable putt. It was 6 feet 2 inches exactly. And that was a really disappointing miss. That would have tied him for the lead. And with 17 to go, he's in the driver's seat at that point. So missing there, I think, added a lot of stress to Brendon Todd. And then you see the 3-putt on the very next hole. This is one of the best putters on the PGA Tour. At this point, he's maybe not leading. He's probably second in the field in strokes gained putting at this point. And then all of a sudden you have a missed 6-footer and a 3-putt on back-to-back holes, and all of a sudden you're out of it. So that was really disappointing. It felt a little bit like leaderboard gravity. It really did. And again, we looked at this yesterday, Rick. Brendon Todd was the guy in this group of players with the most winning experience. And his biggest disadvantage wasn't a disadvantage here. So this one's going to sting a little bit for him. I feel like Brendon Todd's leaving, walking away, saying, I should have won that golf tournament.
Yeah, 68 on Sunday. It is going to be a tie for second. Obviously, very solid finish for Brendon Todd. He is going to move to I don't have the updated projected numbers for the FedEx Cup. I'll get those in a second. Alex Smalley also in at 19 under. And Patrick, this was a dream start. 3 under through 6 after Thursday's unbelievable just fire fest with his irons, fire in a good way, not FYRE. FIRE. And you thought maybe this is a little bit of destiny, a little bit of Alex Smalley time.
Yeah, shout out Ja Rule. He was on the Big 3 broadcast today. Some of my favorite sport to watch during the summer. But did you guys see the clip of his interview after round 3 and his laugh?
Ja Rule's or Alex Smalley's?
Alex Smalley's.
Oh, no.
It was a potential serial killer type laugh. Just I'd never heard him talk before in my life.
Was
and
it like
he goes
Kawhi laughing?
It was almost like if Mickey Mouse consumed helium. It was that crazy.
Do you want to do an impersonation?
I can't. I cannot do it justice. I was thinking about it, but I think the people need to hear it first. Lay their ears on it.
Can we find that somewhere maybe? By the end of the show, not like the second, but like
it's out there on the interwebs.
Well, who did you do the interview with?
It was just like Flash Zone. It's out there. It's out there though. Right. We get some rights, but I mean, this is a kid who's been just striking the crap out of the golf ball for the past few months now. His iron play has been exceptional. He played great there at the Travelers Championship. I think the last 54 holes after he got off to a slow start. He hit 50 greens in regulation. It didn't quite materialize there the following week in Detroit. and he comes back and just has another stellar iron performance. I believe he led the field in strokes gained approach.
He did.
Gaining over 10, around 10 on the field,
around 7-9 as I have it.
Okay. And
led in proximity as well.
Okay. And this is a guy who he has a ton of talent. I think a lot of people see that, but he hasn't really been in the mix. He has a couple top 5 finishes this year at the RSM in Houston, but this felt like the first time he got into the back 9 on a Sunday and was like, I'm in it. I'm in this tournament. I have a chance to win. You see Straka throw up the double bogey while you're on 11, and anything can happen from that point on. But gosh, that putt on 17, the approach putt was just brutal. Oh my God. That was so bad. And I don't know if it was, like Greg said, Todd's putter really let him down. I don't know if some of that dripped into Smalley late, but to leave yourself 15 feet after you had an eagle putt, you just can't do that on Sunday, especially when you're chasing. And to Greg's point again, it was a very strange situation the final pair found themselves in, where you head into the final round and you look up and you're 5 strokes back. And you're like, what the hell just happened? You got to switch your game plan like that. You know, the game plan for most of these guys was just birdies, birdies, birdies. But mentally, it plays games on you. And I think it was a great experience for Alex Smalley to kind of have both of those, you know, sleeping, knowing you're going to be in the final group, and then having that wrench thrown into your plan. And given how well he strikes the golf ball, it should really serve him well. I think he could be one of these guys that just picks up wins in these John Deere type fields. Kind of like we said last week with Taylor Moore.
The 18 unders were Ludvig, who we already spoke about, and Adam Schenk. I'm going to lump Adam Schenk into this conversation, Greg, with Cam Young and Denny McCarthy. I don't know if necessarily their performances, especially for Cam Young and Adam Schenk, were disappointing, but the results were, or maybe the way that the day played out. So where do you want to start here? Schenk, Young, or Denny?
I've been big on Schenk all week. He was on my betting card in a couple of spots. I really thought this was his time to shine and win. Yeah. So I'll start with Schenk.
All right, tale of 2 nines here for Adam Schenk. He goes out in 1 over 36 and also makes a par on 10, the par 5. So he is 1 over through 10. That is not good enough at the John Deere Classic. Now, to his credit, he makes 4 birdies over his final 7 holes to salvage this, to gain a shot on the field, to finish T4. But that slow start really punished him.
Yeah, and ultimately, the putter didn't cooperate on the front 9. He didn't really give himself great opportunities on the front 9, which was really, quite frankly, disappointing, because that's where you got to go get yourself in the mix. And he's been in the mix coming down the stretch on multiple occasions this year. And, this was a chance to put yourself in that position again and see if you've learned anything, which I thought he would do. But unfortunately, the slow start kind of takes you out of that position. And when Sepp's doing what he's doing, reaching 23 under, you're making the turn, you're 8 back. You are well out of it. And so now you see this performance come in, and there's been conversations about players like, Rory McIlroy has gotten this a lot. Xander Schauffele has gotten this a lot. Well, all of a sudden it doesn't mean anything. You realize you're not going to win, and the birdies come flying. Maybe there's a possibility of that for Adam Schenk, although ultimately I think this is just a slow front 9. It took him a while to get going. So ultimately disappointing, but man, this has been a wonderful season for him. And I do still feel, even after today, I still feel like a win is right around the corner for him.
Yeah, very good season for Adam Schenk. That leaves you with Cam Young or Denny McCarthy. Choose your adventure.
Give me Denny boy.
Denny boy shoots a 70 on Sunday. 2 birdies and 2 bogeys in his first 5 holes, and then he stalls out from holes 6 through 13. That's all pars. 1 birdie on 14 and pars the rest of the way. Denny's been knocked again this week. The door did not open.
He's got to feel a bit disappointed, especially since he added this tournament to his schedule, given the current quality he's in. After that second place runner up to Victor at Memorial, top 20 at the US Open, nearly shoots 59 at the Travelers, finishes top 10 there. And here he comes in Friday, I thought was a big moment for him where he made a mess around the turn, dropped all the way to 3 under, and then he birdies like 7 out of his last 8 holes in front of Ryder Cup captain Zach Johnson to put him back into contention. He made a big putt late there on Saturday to get within 1 of the lead. And I was buying in, just given the amount of experience he's kind of garnered under his belt over the last month. The guy's just playing rock solid, but you got to take these players for their word sometimes. And Denny has always said birdie shootouts, where you got to get past 20 under, those aren't really his spots. And you can see with the iron play where at a Memorial or at a US Open at these tough venues, you want to be 30, 40 feet away, middle of the green, 2 putt for par. And someone like Denny, given how good he is on the greens, he can pick off a birdie every now and again, even if he's hitting it to 30, 40 feet. Right. But in this type of event, you just get sprinted past. And I think that's kind of what happened today. Especially, he gets some momentum early, gives it back right away. And from there, he looks up Sepp Straka as a zillion under par, and you're just out of it 4 holes into the final, 5 holes into the final round. So it's disappointing, yes, but still an unbelievable season so far for Denny McCarthy. He's playing like a top 20 player in the world. I think I always advocate for one kind of crazy guy on the Ryder Cup team. In 2021, it was Stuart Schenk after his 2-win season. And I am planting my flag on Denny McCarthy to be in Rome.
I don't think it's going to happen.
Sorry, JT. Smell you later.
I want it to happen. I don't think it's going to happen. I'll take Cam Young here real quick. He's just trying to right the ship. 3 under, 68 on Sunday. He's going to finish 5 shots off the lead. Just a little bit inconsistent about on the approach play. He'll get that figured out. The putter has let him down at times. A good finish, but probably one that leaves a bit of a sour taste in his mouth. I'm going to also here's what we'll do, Josh. How about this? How about we hit the break, and then I will bring in the guy who walked with Sepp Straka here. We'll get a little insight on what he saw. We'll hit the bets. We'll hit the one and done, and we'll call it a night. So run it, Josh.
You gonna start the engine sometime soon, Erica?
Do you know the odds of all of us being here at this time? It's improbable, yet here we are, together.
Hold on to your saddles.
And we're back. Let's bring in Mark Immelman. I'm told we have him. There he is, fresh off the golf course. Hello, Mark.
Hello, boys. How you doing?
We're doing great. How are you? You almost bared witness to another historical round of PGA Tour golf.
I was driving back in the car with Dottie Pepper now, and we were just sort of recapping the day a little bit. And look, I've seen some cool rounds. I've seen Justin Thomas, who I do have something to add to Patrick's Ryder Cup insight. I saw the 59 at Sony, and I saw a 64 by Rory to win Bay Hill, and I've seen some good rounds, right? And the round I watched for, like 2/3 of it today, was as close to perfect golf as I've seen. I mean, bar the approach shot to 18, he was on the button. He never mishit a shot. Every putt he hit was with perfect speed. Putts that didn't go in had a chance to go in. It was just complete. The 5-wood that he hit up 17, if that thing bounces a degree, 2 degrees straighter, he's in the middle of the green putting for eagle. 18 there, look, I mean, everyone, we were talking in the break, like if he was sort of new where he was in the tournament, perhaps, because he went with 8-iron. I asked him on the range afterwards. And if he's unsure, you can always just hit 9-iron right in the middle of the green, 50 feet and 2-putt and get out of there. But it almost seemed to me, he didn't say so to Amanda, but it seemed to me like he kind of knew this is one of those days, when I've got it. Or one of these days, it's like the unicorn in golf, and Sepp Straka was so good today. I think it would have been sacrilegious if he didn't win, but thankfully in the end it all worked out. So, but it was a special day, and I'm sort of really thankful, to be honest, to have seen it with my own two eyes.
Yeah, we were kind of doing the math here as he made the turn in 28 and then piled on those 4 birdies from 11 through 14, and it seemed almost, Mark, like it was definitely going to maybe 58 was in play, right? I mean, the putt, as that putt on 15 was a foot away from the cup, I was thinking, this is a 58.
Yeah, it was the same thing. When we got to the green there, look, there was a big crowd because the way those holes, even 12 is only one, 11 is only one side where the fans can go, 12 is only one side where the fans can go, 13 is kind of the same thing, 14 they're all down the right, 15 they're down the right, 16 they're all the way down the right. So you can only get fans on one side of the hole. And so there was this huge bottleneck there, and a lot of people had shown up, and that crowd grew because you had these post-tournament, the post-round concerts. You had Darius Rucker last night, and it's Blake Shelton tonight. So you had a lot of non-golf folks were showing up too, and all of a sudden they were like, well, dang, this is cool, and when I got to 15 green, there are throngs of folks down the right-hand side, and I actually said this, and there was this strange sort of a quiet, because normally when you get there's a buzz, right, and everyone's talking and laughing, and then they sort of quieten down when the guys got to hit a shot. It was kind of like that situation where, okay, this guy's feeling it now. We've got to stay out of his way kind of thing. And even Cameron Young was sort of just walking around the edges of the greens. But when I thought that putt was right in the heart, and then the putt he hit on 16 was kind of weak. And then sadly with the bunker shot on 17, it looked kind of nervy to me, to be honest with you. But again, like I say, it was some sort of special day. It's not often you get to say that 62 was kind of the most you could have shot, but that honestly was the most you could have shot.
Yeah, we were opining a bit about the Ryder Cup, and Patrick, you said something. I think you said, "See you later, JT." So is that your official endorsement of Denny McCarthy over Justin Thomas for the Americans?
Justin Thomas is going to be on the team. Okay, that is not lost on me. He's built up his resume, his Ryder Cup resume, especially stellar. But I think Denny McCarthy deserves some consideration. But you can soundbite it. See you later, JT. I don't care.
Stand by it, man. Die on that hill. Look, first off, did you guys see what JT was wearing to Wimbledon today? Yeah. That's a pretty confident dude to pull that outfit off. Anyhow, look, yes, we had this conversation over dinner last night, and it was, I won't name my colleagues, but it was a selection.
Well, we can narrow them down, I think.
Well, it wasn't all of the announcers. And the debate was had. And I was like, right now, if I'm Zach Johnson, I'm like, this is a tough decision because JT is currently 12th on the list. And people are like, yeah, we'd honestly go with Denny with the way he's playing. But what is going in Justin's is kind of like, look, his record for one, and then the fact that he and Jordan Spieth are like an immovable force. And to split them apart with their couples record would be asinine, because I've said this time and time again, the President's Cup, the Ryder Cup, these are team matches except for one day of singles. So to find, look at them. I mean, they've broke out the fineries. He actually had a little hat on, even JT. I was like, wow, go boy. Anyway, so it's a couples thing, and you can see him there with his boy Jordan, and those two are so good together. So if there's one reason why JT makes the team right now, unless he really finds some form fast, some better form, that is, it's because he and Jordan are just so good together.
I think another key thing for the American side is, even though there's so much star power on the team, they don't have a ton of experience on European soil. You think about Scotty, Colin, Cantlay, Xander. They haven't played a European Ryder Cup team. So having JT and Spieth kind of spearheading that locker room could prove to be invaluable.
I will need that.
Yeah. So sorry, Greg. I'll say this real quick and then I'll shut up. I've watched Denny McCarthy now in the final round at Memorial, where I was just endorsing him in the biggest way. I was singing his praises. I called him some yesterday afternoon. I was supposed to call him today until Sepp went bananas on the front nine. And Denny McCarthy, he's that guy on the playground that gets up in your face. He's never going to back down. and then he backs it up, right? He can hit it, and match play is a putting contest, and Lord knows he can putt it. And if you're just looking at skill on the greens or ability or results, whatever you want to call it, it's not a contest between him and Justin Thomas. But now the both of them, they've got the same sort of attitude where they're all up for you. You know, they got that like junkyard dog thing about them. So Denny, if he did make the team, he would not be a weak link whatsoever, because the boy has game.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really hard decision to make, you know, and part of the reason too is who would you pick at the Open Championship? I know Justin Thomas doesn't have a very good record there. I'm not expecting great things, but would you be more surprised if Denny McCarthy won the Open or if Justin Thomas won the Open? And then second to that, sometimes these really good players, you know, all the best player, the stars of the game are the stars of the game because of what they do when they don't have their best stuff. And, you know, looking at, as we sit here in July with the Ryder Cup coming up in September, looking at Denny's best stuff, which I think he's showing us, if it's not his best, it's really darn close to his best golf. And you're comparing it to Justin Thomas's worst golf. And to say that in September, the situation is going to be the same, I think is a little bit extreme. And then you add into the mix the Jordan Spieth conversation. I think it's really hard to leave Justin Thomas off that team. For someone like Denny McCarthy, who I'm a huge fan of and love. But I think it's a really risky call if you're in Zach Johnson's shoes to do that.
Yeah, but I hear your point, but it's situational, right? So I wouldn't call it Justin Thomas's worst golf. He's not putting well at all. And if you're not putting well, that filters through the game. And it has had an effect on some of the iron shots he's hit, and so the numbers are down. But it's about who's playing well, whether it's your best or your worst. It's who's putting up the numbers. And it's a compelling argument right now, and I'm keen to see how this thing plays out. Suffice it to say, I believe we will be seeing Justin Thomas playing events like 3M and Wyndham and these sorts of things, events he's ducked in the past.
Yeah, I agree with that, because if you're Zach Johnson, JT's in all likelihood going to find a way to get inside the top 70. I think we can all agree with that.
Well, he's projecting 70 right now. You know that, huh?
But yeah, if you're Zach Johnson, say he doesn't make the playoffs, you make your pick after the Tour Championship, you won't have seen JT in competition for like a month.
Yikes.
And Denny's projecting well inside the top 30 right now. I think he's like projecting 15th or something.
It's a very, very valid point. JT's got to make the playoffs.
If JT doesn't make the playoffs, he should remove his name from consideration for the Ryder Cup.
I don't disagree with that.
He might be the first player to be picked for the Ryder Cup who hasn't made the playoffs.
It would be insane.
He should volunteer as a vice captain, just to, you know, for the good of the team.
Volunteer,
take him on as a vice captain.
All right, let's recap our bets, recap our one and done, and we'll go watch the ladies finish up at Pebble Beach. So, Josh, hit me with that grid, please. We did not find a winner. No Sepp Straka on the board. However, we got 3 out of the 4 finishing position wagers. Glover top 30 did better than that. I think it was T6. Aberg top 20, much better than that. It was a tie for 4th. And Garrick Higo, Mark, who we talked about earlier in the week. We talked about him on Friday. You had him for top 40. He ended up finishing T21.
All right. Finally get one of those right. Hey, for a while, I thought Schenk was looking good. I mean, he was really looking good.
Yeah.
That guy's got the most curious bag setup. I've got to tell you guys this for the golf junkies listening and watching. Before the round this week, he and his caddy were vacillating between putting a 5-iron in the bag or taking it out, because he's got one of those mini drivers. So he'd warm up. They'd look how the wind was going, check how the golf course was setting up toward the wind, and then decide, okay, was the 2-iron going to go in the bag, or was it coming out and the 5-iron going to stay in there? And then at the last minute, after checking the wind, how he's playing, how they can sort of navigate their way around there, the 5-iron got removed. He did that twice in the last 2 rounds, because the addition of this mini driver has been like not a lifesaver, but it's been a huge effect on the thing. And I joked with him. I'm like, dude, you're like a modern day Ben Hogan. because the story about Hogan, he'd show up at a course and go, I'm never going to hit my 7-iron, so he'd take it out the bag and add something else in there. So it was very cool, and it just shows you how much thought these guys put into their craft, how they prepare, and again, how golf is situational. Because if the wind was from the opposite direction, the 5-iron would have been in and the 2-iron would have been out. So it's just crazy stuff.
Best bets. Mark and I get on the board here with Peter Quest finishing inside the top 40. He did indeed do much better than that. He finished T17, so we cash a couple of extra ones there. It was not a good Sunday, Patrick, for Peter. A 71. It was his worst round of the week, but we knew once he made the cut, he was going to get special temporary membership status, and he's got to look back at his last 8 rounds over the last 2 weeks and be pretty happy about it.
Absolutely. I mean, talk about riding a heater, just being in contention there at the Rocket Mortgage, barely missing out on the last hole to secure that special temporary membership, and then getting it this week. I think when he puts his head on his pillow tonight, he will be a very, very happy camper, despite the somewhat disappointing Sunday.
One and done, please, Josh. Thank you kindly. Greg, you won the week. You won it with Patrick, you won it with Kyle, and you won it with Kyle M. Thanks to Denny McCarthy getting you $218,000. It does not, I believe, change the order anywhere. I think everybody stayed where they were, but Denny getting you a couple $100,000, I think is good, but the way it shook out probably feels like you could have gotten a lot more.
Yeah, winning I should have picked Sepp. He was obviously the play. Look, this is winning the week is nice. I was in a good position with only Kyle M ahead of me who picked Denny. So getting a win, this was an amount of dollars earned, more so than winning the week. And I needed I still need all I can get. So this is nice. It's another fine pick, like I've done all year, but it doesn't move me up the board. So it's like making pars in a birdie fest. You get lapped.
You get lapped. Russell Henley for Sia and the fans. They got 36,947. I get $0 from Adam Hadwin's miscut, and Mark, you get $0 from Emiliano Grillo's miscut.
Yeah, so he has 2 funny stories, okay? Because I'm a dumbass of biblical proportion. Late last week, we're in the TV compound. Adam's playing well, and Colt Nost, I guess their subpar people have a one and done league as well, and so he always checks in with me. He's like, "Who you going with?" kind of thing. So last week it's he and me and Dottie, and we're waiting there on the golf course for after the playoff. And I'm like, "See that guy over there? That's gonna be my one and done pick next week. He loves John Deere. He's playing great." And I'm talking about Adam Schenk, right? So then we have our preview show Tuesday morning, and I'm looking at this, and I've got Schenk written down, and something, because I even picked him to win, right, in our bets, but I decided to go with Grillo, which was just asinine. So I was aggravated the whole week. So then this morning I walk onto practice putting green, and Adam's caddy comes over to me to chat, and so we're chit-chatting and stuff like that, and so I'm like, "I need to tell you a story about me and how stupid I am." And he goes, "What's that?" And I'm like, "Last week, I'd said to that lady over there," and I point out Dottie, and she turns around. I'm like, "I told her I was going to pick Adam Schenk in the one and done." And Dottie goes, "Yeah, he did." And I'm like, "And I didn't, so I'm a dumbass." And he goes, "Well," he's caddy now. He goes, "Well, look, we want to win, but now I really want to win, just to rub your nose in this thing a little bit." So I was like, "Well, go and get it." So look, I rue this week. It was an infantile, amateurish play, and I cannot afford to do that sort of stuff again.
Especially not in the next couple of weeks. I don't know what the Scottish Open purse is, but obviously we'll be headed to the Open Championship, and we'll get a nice little juicy purse from the RNA. It is almost coffee golf time, Greg. I've already got my flag came in today for 2 weeks from now.
I saw that, Rick.
Getting ready. I got my swag in, all that fun stuff. So I'm ready to go.
Yeah,
Okay.
Cool time of year. Go ahead, Mark.
I need to do this now because I need to get this on the record because of all the brouhaha in the first event of the season where I was apparently late with my John Rahm change from.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you're disqualified.
No, so yeah, whatever. Okay. I'm going to have my pick in because I'm on the show with you guys Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'd work the Scottish Open. Then the following week, my family and I are going to be on vacation in Europe. So I want to know from you, with communication and stuff like that from abroad, what is my deadline for getting my pick for the Open Championship in?
Okay. I would just get it in now.
I would just text me all your picks moving forward, and I can relay them to Josh.
So realistically, the time is going to be Tuesday, 5 p.m. Eastern. So whatever that looks like in Europe. Now, if you want to get it, you can always get them in earlier. If you want to put a pick in for this week and next week, that's fine. Josh will put it in the spreadsheet. We'll do that. Which might be safer than trying to remember while you're trying to enjoy a European vacation.
And I have my pick for the Open. I'm likely going with Victor Hovland. Likely.
It's not official.
Not official.
Okay.
But I need to watch how Scotland transpires.
Okay.
Because I have my plans for Scotland, but my plan for Scotland might also be my plan for Wyndham. So I've got some options I'm trying to figure out over here.
All right. Well, we will not be
reminding you. Interesting.
Yeah, we will not be sending you any reminder texts.
Of course you won't.
Mark, where are you vacationing?
When we're done with the Scottish Open Monday morning, we're traveling down to London, and we're going to spend 2 days and a night there. Then we're taking the Channel train to Paris for a couple of days. And then from there, the train via Zurich through the Alps down to Florence in Italy. And we're going to be there for 5 days in Tuscany. And then I fly to the 3M from there.
Oh, I mean, That's probably the best part, Minnesota.
Well, I mean, think about this for a second. My wife booked this thing, and we sort of Airbnb, which I'm looking forward to. But there's this train that she's found with an not open, like a glass ceiling that you travel through the Alps. I mean, this is going to be incredible. I can't wait to do that.
Watch out for pickpocketers in Paris. They got me last time I went.
Yeah, I've heard. Did you use one of those man purses or what did you use?
No, I'm a man. They swiped my sunglasses off me. I thought they're coming to me. They're like, we need you to sign this petition. It was like 4 12-year-olds. I'm an idiot. I'm like, oh, come here. I'll sign your petition.
The American can solve all your problems.
Yeah. I'm like, I got you. Don't worry, children. I look down and my sunglasses are gone.
Yeah, I'll pay attention. No, I plan to sit at some sidewalk Parisian cafe and sip cappuccinos until it turns into wine time at about 2 p.m. in the afternoon.
There you go.
Awesome.
Nice.
We'll be living through you, but we'll be back next week, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I imagine it's going to be way earlier. I don't know what time the coverage ends, but it should be earlier.
Yeah, it is earlier. For us in Scotland, it's 5 to 8 local, and I think that's 12 to 3 Eastern time. I think
that's right.
That sounds right.
So probably 3 p.m. Eastern will be when the final putt drops. We'll go after that.
By the way, gentlemen, just check this out too. So I fly out Wednesday evening, arrive Edinburgh Thursday morning. Thursday afternoon, I'm having lunch and then a little stroll around the Honourable Company of Edinburgh Golfers, Muirfield. So how nice is that?
Wow. With the clubs in hand.
Fancy.
Fancy. I've got my sport coat and everything packed. I'm good to go.
Very much looking forward to hearing about it. When you come back, should be a great time. Thanks for hopping on. Let's see. Josh, thank you very much. Does all the hard work behind the scenes. Mark Immelman, available on Twitter at Mark_Immelman. Greg DuCharme at The Real GFD. Patrick McDonald at Amateur Status. And you can find me at Rick Run Good. This has been The First Cut. We'll catch you next time.